Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Ryan Chambers of Starcastic Remarks. The Dallas Stars have sprinted out of the Four Nations break, but can they track down the Winnipeg Jets? We get into that and more on today's episode of Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. I apologize for the very late episode yesterday on Tuesday night, but I did grab Ryan Chambers for you all, and we chopped it up for about an hour. So I had plenty of topics to cover with Ryan, and we got into a ton of different stuff. We talked more playoffs in this episode about Dallas, of course, and where they fit in the Western Conference. I asked Ryan, can the Stars track down the Jets? And he gave me a short and sweet answer. So without further ado, enjoy part 2. Ryan Chambers of Starcastic Remarks. There was an update from Jim Nill as well on DLS I want to get to in case Stars fans did not hear. Rope Hens, of course, took that puck to the face. Again, all Stars players should be wearing cages at this point. But it wasn't a fracture is what came out, which is a great, great sign. So they think it may be about a week. So that's a win at this point. I did say, hey, he gets a little rest. Not a bad thing if that's the case. So, but Stars have been playing lights out since the Four Nations break. What do you attribute that to? I mean, they've come out on fire. Had a little bit of dud against Edmonton, but man, they've just seemed to kind of pick up where they left off going into the break. And man, it's been a really nice 2 weeks, and they're kind of sniffing around the top of the Central, which is kind of crazy.
Their best players have been their best players for the most part. Like when you look at the difference between the beginning of the season and where we are now. I mean, Wyatt Johnston, I don't think his point streak continued, but he was on a 9-game point streak until recently. I mean, Robertson, oh my gosh, he's got 42 points in 28 games or in the last 28. There's something ridiculous. Same thing with Rope before he got hurt. I think we kept joking up about it in the press box. I was like, oh, he's slacking tonight. He only got 3 points tonight when the previous 2 games he had 4. So we had 11 points in 3 games. That's ridiculous. Yeah. And it's just, and then obviously Harley, finally, kind of at a set necessity gets thrown on the power play, and he does the things that we hoped he would do when he got put on the PP1. And he's taken that group to the next level. And honestly, he's not the deciding factor, but he is a big factor as to why the Stars power play has been as good as it's been since January 1st. I think it's clicking at somewhere between 28 and 32%, something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it's 30%. It's got to be. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. But it's literally just been that their best players have been their best players. That's really the truth, and they are getting compliments and a little bit of depth scoring at times from other players. I mean, you see Stam Steele with that ridiculous shorthanded goal that he had. He went backhand cookie jar up top, and that was just a beautiful shot. You see Dodonov getting in there. Kind of nastiness enough getting it and getting some goals there. So it's just everything seems to be clicking, at least on the offensive side of the puck right now, which allows the Stars to kind of negate some of the, the defensive deficiencies that they're having right now. And that's to be expected. Before Miro, they were at a 2.48, and after they're at almost, it's not even that bad. It's only a 0.3 addition, which if you score 3 goals, then you win the game. That's basically what they're looking at right now with the Stars. And they're way above that. Regularly they're getting 4 goals a game right now. So it's just their best players have been their best players. And there's some improvements I'd like to see, especially from Otter. I think he could be a little bit better over the last stretch, but they've been able to mitigate the holes where they've needed to.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Otter a bit, and if you're worried, since there has been couple of just really weird starts, it feels like, for him. I didn't get to watch the entirety of the Edmonton game since it was a real busy weekend. But I saw the highlights. There was a few that you would have liked him to have, and then there was one that was a bit unlucky. And even the start the other night, I can't remember who it was against exactly, but it hasn't been great. But hopefully he's been he'll right the ship. The great thing has been Casey DeSmith. My goodness, he's been unreal. He's won his last 6 starts, and he's been exactly what you want a backup netminder to be. I said the other day, he's sort of what Scott Wedgwood was doing the last few seasons here. Like, gives Otter nights off, and most of the time he keeps Dallas in the game. And well, he's doing more than that right now. He's winning, straight up winning, and stealing some games for the Stars as well. So if we look at the Western Conference, Colorado lost tonight in a shootout to Minnesota. Winnipeg won, so they increased their lead, but Stars do have a couple of games in hand. So if the Stars take care of business, they'd be about 6 points behind Winnipeg. I want to hear a prediction from you. Where do you think the Stars finish here in the final month? Do you think they can get to the 1 seed? I'll say this: as much as I'm not worried about the Stars winning the Central, it looks like this may be the year to do it. So you don't have to face what I think is going to be a really, really tough Colorado team. Like, they got better at the deadline. I guess the only worry is, if you're an Avs fan, is like, can it come together at the right time? Like, they got all these new pieces, and they're kind of had like 3 different deadlines throughout the season. But if all the chemistry comes together and Val somewhat stays out of trouble and all that stuff, like, they can be a dangerous team. But let me hear your prediction. Where do you think the Stars finish? Is it too late to catch Winnipeg?
Yeah. Long story short.
Yeah.
And I mean, give Winnipeg their flowers. Like, they deserve every like, they are playing fantastically. I mean, 153 goals against. I hadn't even realized how low it is. Like, nobody even is in the 160s other than Washington and Dallas. I think that's it. Yeah. So I mean, they're by far the best regular season team, in my opinion, despite how good Washington is playing as well. But I hate it so much to say this. It's inevitable. The Stars are going to play Colorado in the first round.
Yeah.
Now, as a Stars fan, I hate saying that. But in terms of storylines for the rest of the NHL, this is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
dream.
These two teams hate each other. Obviously, the Rantanen thing is going to be enormous when it does happen. Even if the Stars don't play them in the first round, if they get the wild card and they play against Winnipeg in the first round, Winnipeg's not going to win that series, in my opinion. I know it seems as like an upset.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be honest. I just don't think that would happen. So the Stars just need to be ready, and I mean, the Stars will be ready. Stars fans need to prepare themselves more than the players do, and the fact that we're going to see the Avalanche again here, whether it's in the first round or the second. But yeah, my prediction, it's Winnipeg's going to win the division. Dallas will get second. Colorado will get third, and Minnesota's going to be that wild card 1 team. So that's just the nature of the beast. And the West is very top heavy. Like they're I mean, in the Pacific Division, my gosh, talk about mid. I mean, we would be at the top of the Pacific Division right now, if I remember correctly. Right? Isn't that true?
Correct. Yeah, we're 3 points ahead of Vegas.
Colorado is 2 points off the lead.
Yeah,
from being the leader in the Pacific Division if they were there. So
if you had the 1-8 format, the Stars and Avs would be like a 2-4. Like, that's how good the Central is. And another reason we need to go back to the 1-8 format. It's an absolute disgrace that the Stars and Avs may have to play each other. One of them will be out. It does make me nervous, man. The Avs can be a good team, and if you can't stop McKinnon and McCarr, they'll light you up. And they don't need fantastic goaltending here, and they have some good players. Like, they brought in Brock Nelson. Drew Rand seems to be, a little bit better here recently. So Yeah, Avs team would be scary, but it would be an electric playoff series. I'll say that, but it wouldn't be an upset if Colorado beat Dallas just as much as it wouldn't have been an upset if the 8-seeded Vegas Golden Knights beat the Stars a year ago. But we do get a couple matchups against those Central Division foes here upcoming. We got Winnipeg first on Friday, and then you got the Colorado to end the road trip. Has to feel like a couple playoff games. These are going to be some measuring stick contests, and the atmosphere in Colorado, I'm sure, is going to be a bit toxic and a bit electric as well. So I'm looking forward to these couple of games and seeing how the Stars kind of match up against two of the heavyweights here. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Indeed. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other sites. Indeed sponsored jobs put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates faster. As a business owner, you know that you don't have tons of time to be spending looking for the right candidates. That's why you use Indeed. It matches the perfect job description with the perfect candidate for you. Takes all the pressure off trying to find the right candidate. Now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, all you need is Indeed.
It's going to be a measuring stick, and people are going to use it as a measuring stick. But again, it's just one game.
Yeah.
Like, you also have to imagine that, I mean, it doesn't matter who you play. If you're going to play Colorado, it's going to 6 or 7 games. There's no way it's a sweep or a 5-game series. I don't believe that. Same thing with Winnipeg. I think if the Stars played Winnipeg, it would still be a 6 or 7-game series. And it will be interesting to see all the additions that Colorado has made. Because, I mean, they have made quite a bit. Like, they completely overhauled their goaltending, like completely new guys. They got rid of both. They've got Wedgie in there. They got Brock Nelson. Who else did they get? Help me out here.
Oh my goodness! See, they've added so much.
Yeah, there was one other guy, one other major piece that they added.
I got to pull it up now that you brought it up. Well, it kind of gives you. It kind of reminds you of what Vegas did last year, and it felt like they brought so many guys in. And it felt like maybe the chemistry wasn't all there in that series against Dallas. I know they took them to 7 games, but they relied heavily on Eichel and Marcia. So some of the guys they brought in didn't necessarily live up to. Oh, well, they got Natchez. Okay, don't forget about him. Natchez, obviously, for the Rantanen. They brought in Jack Drury. No, he's been there.
Yeah, he was part of that Rantanen deal.
Eric Johnson, but he's just kind of, that was kind of a feel-good story. But yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously Natchez and Natchez and Brock Nelson are the good. Was there somebody else there? Maybe I'm just completely missing, but
I think there was one
Jimmy VC was he? I think he was added, wasn't he? Late.
Regardless,
either way, yeah.
There's a lot of pieces that they've added, and goaltending is not that big a deal.
Charlie Coyle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I knew there was one other guy. Yes. Okay. So they trade out Casey Middlestad and they take Charlie Coyle, which at first I viewed that as a downgrade, but Charlie Coyle's had a good season this year, and you're trading out a young guy for a veteran. Yeah. That kind of signifies that you're trying to go for it again this year. So it's not going to be fun for Stars fans, and it's really not going to be fun for the Stars, but. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. That's the hand you're dealt. We said the same thing about Vegas last year. They were down 2-0 in the series, and we were all down on the dumps, and they came back and won the series. So, I mean, it's just like when people complain about officiating. I used to do that so much, especially when I first started the podcast. I was like, the officiating sucked tonight. And I still say that to some extent, and you're allowed to. But you also have to look inward and look at, well, what if I had done that play better? Or what if we had scored here? Or what if we hadn't made that turnover here? Or what if the goalie had made the save there? You can't rely on things like that to happen. You get the hand that you're dealt and you go. don't whine. Go take care of business. That's what you got to do. And
Yeah.
it sucks that it's the way that it is with the divisional format and everything, but that's what you're dealt. Don't whine. Go take care of business.
Yeah, and we know that's what the Stars are going to do. That's sort of been their MO over the last few seasons, which is a good thing. But us fans, we don't act that way, and that's okay. Like at least the team we love, man, they just they don't care, man. They just go about their business, and they seem to be in a good state right now, and maybe Rantanen gives them some juice too here down the stretch, which is always good at this time of year, just to finish the season strong. But I'm sure they're itching to get to the postseason. I'm ready for it now too. Let's just get some of these series over with. Let's get nervous and sit around for 40 minutes, wait for puck drop. That was scheduled at 7, but it's more like 7:45 type stuff. So I can't wait for those. It's gonna be great.
Well, and what's actually kind of funny when you look at the standings like you just did, you almost kind of want to be in Minnesota's shoes, right?
Yeah, to some degree, because if you win,
at least based off of the way that some of the Pacific Division teams have played, like even Vegas is the division leader right now. And since January 1st, they have the, I think points percentage wise, they're 18th in the NHL. So they are literally just below average compared to the rest of the league. So, and I mean, and Minnesota's been better than that. They haven't been top 10, I don't think, if I remember correctly. I think they're like 11th or 12th over that same period of time. But they played better than those teams.
Yeah. Minnesota,
it's just
they can't get healthy either. Good night.
That's true. Yeah.
I think I saw they've only played 2 games all year with like a fully healthy roster. And that's look, a lot of teams get hurt, but God, they've been screwed by. I mean, Kaprizov's still out. Vegas is interesting. It feels like if Hill's going to be good, like they're going to be fine. People still ask me who you worried about. It really is Vegas. If they can put it together, they just seem like a team, but maybe we're giving them too much credit. I think that's a good little stat you kind of pull up there about them since July 1st. Colorado, I think, could be dangerous just because they could be playing really well at the right time because they just really haven't played well at any point. But sometimes it's hard to ask teams to just switch a flip or flip the switch, so to speak. Said that wrong. But I mean, the West is just a hodgepodge. I feel like I've said it all year. You got Winnipeg and Dallas. You feel like they're kind of the heavyweights, and the rest is just a real hodgepodge, man. There's been some disappointing teams. I was higher on Vancouver. Maybe I was blind to the fact. I just thought they were going to be decent, but that seems to be a whole mess in BC. Like they could miss out. I mean, credit to the Flames for doing pretty well. But it looks like the Wild and Flames may be the 2 teams that enter the playoffs with a negative goal differential. So, yeah, it'll be fascinating. But man, Stars have been good. Stars have been good out of the break, which is great. And they've just been playing some of their. I said this a little bit. They just seem to be progressing each month. We've had a lot to complain about all season, even though they've been really good. And it just seems like they get better and better each month, slowly increasing their play, and then hopefully it peaks at the right time. And hopefully they're not. Hopefully this isn't their ceiling right now because it's pretty darn good. God, I mean, they're hitting 4 goals a night. Even when they're giving up 3, they're winning games. It seems like maybe this could be a special year. And the Rantanen thing was just awesome. You mentioned earlier, like you alluded to it, like Stars took a big swing, and that's awesome. Like Stars weren't complacent this time, and we're so used to them just kind of, I like our team. It's a good club, right? Like, but I said this too. Don't be fooled about his demeanor. Like he wants to freaking win, and I think he got a little impatient going to the back-to-back Western Conference Finals. And maybe if they make the Stanley Cup one of these games and even not win it, maybe they don't go out and get a Rantanen. But being that close and feeling like, yeah, if we just got over that team, there's a good shot we could hoist it. I think he got a little impatient. And that's a good thing. And that's what good teams do. And he said, no shots at other GMs, but yes, absolutely shots. Like, don't be complacent. Like, go make your team better. Fans will reward you. Team will reward you. Yeah, I mean, just like I feel like we glaze Jim Nill, to put it that way, like all the time. But God, he's been awesome here, and this could be the defining move of his career. If the Stars win one cup in Rantanen's 8 years, it was worth it.
Yep. And you talk about players getting better and something like that. I don't do this very much because we just haven't been able to say this about this particular player. Matt Dumba, he has played his
been okay.
like
more than okay.
Yes, no, he's been good.
Yes,
like he has honestly been good, and this is the first time that he has done it over a long period of time. Like even before the Four Nations break, we saw like a week and a half where we were like, okay, he's starting to get there, and the expectations were so low because of how we started the season, and the money that he was being paid, and the fact that he started the year with on Miro Heiskanen's right, and fell all the way out of the decor as the number 7, and it's good to see him, at a necessity again a little bit, playing the way that he is. Because I mean, he's getting power play 2 time a little bit, and that has gotten his game going a little bit. He has been so much better defensively. Like it's not even funny looking at how well he has played defensively. Like there were numerous times last night on my game notes that I take. I'm weird like that, but I always type out game notes as I'm going through so I can help remind myself about certain players or whatever. And I was like, good D Dumba, and good D Dumba play on the back check. Again, good D play to Dumba. I'm like, I feel like I've typed that a couple of times. I went back and I had done it 4 times.
Yeah, and that's a win.
Yeah, and the other thing that's noticeable is that he's every once in a while he's not making the right play or whatever, but it's not exactly costing the Stars either. And then on the other side, like he's finally making some offense happen. So when you're making offense happen, people are more inclined to forgive that mistake that you make on the defensive side when that happens. And it hasn't even happened that much since the Four Nation break has been over. Like he has been consistently, I don't want to say he's been top 2 defenseman, but right now in a pinch, could he be in that second pairing if there was an injury to Lyubushkin or to Lindell? I wouldn't feel super confident about it, but he could. And just if he keeps raising his bar a little bit, maybe he can finally get to where that expectation was for him at the beginning of the season, where it was top 4 D-man. I don't think we necessarily thought he could be next to Miro, but he's been really good. So, I mean, seriously, Dumba, if you're listening, please keep it going, man. You're playing excellent.
Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. It's time to download the Tournament Challenge app. Get those brackets in. Well, you have a perfect bracket this season, but you can also follow along with FanDuel. Be sure to make some money. Use the spreads, totals, game props. That's what it's all about. FanDuel, the app is so easy to use, and you can make some money. And the best thing about it is, too, you get paid instantly when you win. Have some fun with March Madness. Make it even more mad with FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Yeah, I think I sort of land on the side of he's creating a bit more offensively. I think he's facilitated the puck much better over the last month and a half or so. And I'll take that. As long as he's snapping passes around, seems to be more comfortable. Look, he's going to have his moments in the defensive end, and he's playing alongside Bichel. They're still getting kind of used to each other. They're going to have their moments.
And Bischel's a rookie too. So Dumba is trying to. You're asking Dumba to cover up the mistakes of a rookie, and as much as we love Liam Bischel, he got undressed by. I mean, recently.
Calgary game.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just gonna happen, and Dumba was like a -3 that night, and I went back and I was just like, no, those are really his fault. He just happened to be on the ice.
Yeah,
it's one of the few times where he's been a minus player, and I'm like, that's not really his fault.
I think you can throw Cody Ceci into that camp too. I think he's just been really solid, like really solid. Exactly what you need out of him. Just kind of eating minutes. And he hasn't been awful. Hasn't been superstarish. Just a steady back end, sort of like what Joel Hanley was for a few years. I mean, I think come playoff time, let's say Miro's healthy, they're going to throw the big boys together, aren't they? I feel like they're going to put 455. You're going to have Lindell Labushkin, and then you just go. I mean, you can kind of have your pick: Dumba Bischel, CC Dumba. That's, I mean, like if they're not comfortable with Bischel, we could see CC Dumba, something like that. But I feel like it's all roads are leading to 455 being put back together.
I'm 100% behind you there. Just and to their credit, they've tried other combinations all year.
Experimented.
And they have experimented, and you also see them not always playing exclusively with that one D partner, right? And it depends on the situation. If it's in the D zone right now with the defenseman we have, you're not going to put Dumba out there in that situation because you know what the issue has been. You put Labushkin and Lindell out there, right? And if you're in the offensive zone, then maybe you put Miro and Dumba out there because that's the right situation there. And so that's something that they've done this year too. So just because they say the pairings are this is not indicative that it's just exclusively those guys. So, but to be completely honest with you, I don't see how they don't put those two guys together. And I know that's not what they want. They want Harley and Miro to be on separate pairings because then, like, you know, basically 80% of the time, one of those guys is out on the ice.
Yeah.
But if those guys are together, you still have Lindell out there as well, who I have argued has probably been your number two at points in this year, when Harley has been off or when Miro has been off, he has been that steady number two guy the entire time. So, I mean, if you have Miro out there at all times and Lindell is the other guy that takes up that other space, and those are the two guys that take up the 80%, I'm more than happy with that. So yeah, I'm right behind you that they put those two guys together come playoff time.
Yeah, I think the old little Dallas Stars would be just fine. They would be just fine. I'm fired up to watch the rest of the year, so it'll be great. But man, Ryan, this was awesome. Went for about an hour. Appreciate you for hopping on here on a school night, nonetheless, to chop it up, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. You know, I always enjoy talking Stars hockey with anybody, anytime. So, and I don't get a lot of that at school because some kids play hockey at my school, but I tried, you know, side tangent. When they made the trade for Rantanen, I was in front of a band of like 80 kids. All right. So there was like 80 eyeballs staring at me. And there was a couple of kids who I knew in my trombone section who play hockey. And I was just like, do you guys know who Mikko Rantanen is? And they both just glass-eyed and had no idea. And I was just like, and I was like, you know what? Never mind. They basically, my hockey team basically traded for Luka. And then everyone kind of was just like, oh, okay, we understand the severity.
Yeah. There you go. go. I got to bring it back to football or basketball, something. And then,
especially Luka.
Luka. Yes. Yeah. Then it will click. But you got a show tomorrow. I'm going to put this out really late tonight. It'll be part 1 and 2 since we went for a while, but you got a show tomorrow, I believe, on Wednesday, correct?
Yep, 9:30, like always on Wednesday nights, and then of course Friday we got that game coming up against that one team that I don't want to talk about, and it's same old for us here. So come and check us out. We love hanging out. We're live almost every single episode now. It feels like very rarely do we not go live actually. So yeah, come hang out with us.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, be sure to give Starcastic Remarks a follow. Ryan and his brothers do an excellent job, and they're an absolute hoot. So, good stuff over there. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button here for any of those that are new since the Ranson and Trey. Thank you so much. Me and Ryan usually pop on about once a month and have an absolute blast to chat hockey. So, thank you guys as always for the love and support. You guys have a wonderful week as we get a couple days off here, and then the Stars are back at it on Friday. So, have a great day, Stars fans. See you tomorrow.